Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Mrs. Freeze. It's Wednesday morning. Let's see. So far today, I have loaded and ran the dishwasher, made homemade scones, read the paper, unloaded the dishwasher, ran 8 miles, done a couple of emails and a Zoom call, and now here I am. I think later today we will play some basketball. Probably we've been doing that a lot lately. And I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I'll probably sew some more if my machine works. It's been acting weird. Anyway, so the Mrs. Free story of the day is about my imaginary friends that I had when I was little. So I don't know if you know this or not, but they say that having a good imagination is a sign of intelligence. Either that or insanity. So whatever. Um, so when I was really little, I had three little imaginary friends called my three little Juliettas. And so they were my babies. They were triplets. And I would play with them under the desk, like where your legs go under the desk. That was our house. So that's when I was really small. And then when I was in elementary school, my friend Julie actually started this. She had these imaginary friends, and I thought they were really cool, so I had them too. So we would have twins. They were always in pairs, and they always had names that rhymed. So like Jen and Ben, or I can't remember, Jill and Bill, or things like that. And they would get into all kinds of trouble. Oh, also, we would shrink them down and they would live in our ears. So that was their home. And then they would, we'd take them out and play with them. They got in all kinds of trouble. They were very ornery children. I remember one time we were on a bus for a field trip, and they were being bad. And so Julie and I think we made them like run behind the bus or something for a while. So don't worry, I've never done that with actual children, only with pretend children. So it's okay. So really good imagination. That has even carried into adulthood some. So if Jason's running late or something, I can imagine all kinds of terrible things. So, or one time I lost my voice. This was about like 5 years ago, maybe, from March until like June. Like I didn't sound good at all for that whole time. And so I was pretty sure that I had throat cancer. Um, so I didn't want to go to the doctor because I didn't want to have to deal with that. But finally I did. So in June, I went to the doctor after 3 months of imagining myself with throat cancer. And guess what? It wasn't throat cancer. It was allergies. So that was good. So imagination can be a good thing or a bad thing. So let's see. Oh, that leads us to our math devotional of the day. In Ephesians, it says that God can do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine. So sometimes, if I'm thinking about a situation, really, imagination is a lot like extrapolating data. Remember, we talked about that this year. It's when you have a data set and then you make predictions that go outside of that data set. That's extrapolation, which is different from interpolation when it's inside the data set. So anyway, when I'm extrapolating or imagining what might happen, sometimes I see things going up, seeing a positive trend, and I'm like, okay, God, so I can imagine this. So you got more than that? And he can imagine even better things than I can imagine. So, and I got a pretty good imagination. Sometimes if things are going badly, or if I see people on a bad word trend, like not doing their math work, then that worries me, and I can get very concerned about them, and I can see their life going on a downhill path that I don't want them to follow. And so then I'll pray to God and say, this is what I'm seeing. Can you see something better than this? And he can. Now, that doesn't mean he shows it to me, because sometimes it's none of my business. So sometimes I'll just have to, find out when I get to heaven what that was all about. But He can do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. Um, so, imaginary numbers are solutions that we find sometimes to equations, but you can't graph them on the real plane. So, in our real world, it might not look like there are solutions to the problems that we see. We might be like, what is even the purpose of that? But someday we'll figure that out. So there's a book, a math book. So here's literary advice and math advice. Um, it's called Flatlands. It's by, I think, Edwin something. He's got the same middle name and last name. Really weird. I don't know what his mom was thinking with that, but um, Flatlands is the name of the book. And so they all live on a plane. They all live on a coordinate plane. And so they don't understand things that happen like outside of their plane. So it's a really interesting book. But then at one point the Dot gets perspective, like he gets to jump up and he's like, oh my goodness, there's so much more that I didn't understand that I didn't see. So I think maybe it'll be like that when we get to heaven and we get out of this real plane, then we'll be like, oh, okay. So and God has that perspective now. So there's your math thought of the day. So, well, I hope that you remember that Jesus loves you, and so do I. So do your math.